Hi, my name is Thiruvelaidan and I am a graduate student of NJIT. I registered for the program Cloud Computing CS643 for this spring semester. In this video, I'm going to provide a demo and brief explanation how I implemented the application for this project using AWS services like EC2 Compute Instance, SQSQ, S3 Bucket, and AWS Recognition Service for image and text processing. First, let me walk you through the AWS services which I have created for this project. I have logged into my AWS Academic Learner Lab, and this is my ID TV95. I have two EC2 instance is up and running at this point, and I have created two instances and named them EC2A and EC2B. EC2A for the car image recognition, and EC2B will be performing the text recognition. And I have also configured the security group for both the instance so that I can connect um, through SSH from my PowerShell. So as you see, I have configured my IP as the same configuration for EC2B as well. And also I have noted down the public IP address which I need required to make a connections to the instances. Next is the queue, simple queue service. I've created one queue um, under the name TV95 Project 1 SQS, and I also needed this URL for the queue which I'll be using in my Java program. I will show it to you later. And the third service is the S3 bucket. This S3 bucket also with my student ID TV95 Project 1 S3 S3. All right, let's move on. In my local, what I did, I have installed AWS CLI, um, which I will use for checking the queue or checking the bucket. So it's pretty convenient to check locally. So I have written some command to check. Execute real quick. This tells me there is no connection error, and this command will tells me the objects in the bucket, S3 bucket. I have 10 images, and this one will test the queue, send a message to the queue, one image file, and I will try to retrieve the file as well. As you see, the this tells me that the connection to my queue is successful, so which is good. All right, let's move on. The next. Okay. We also, before we start proceed further, we also need to copy the code, the AWS credentials into two files, credentials and config in the directory .aws before we proceed further, because this will throw an error security token expired. I have documented this information yeah, in my README file. All right, let's move on. So before we proceed further, I want to like to give a little overview architecture of the project, how this project was designed. So the EC2A instance will detect the cars in the images. Then it send the images URL to the queue. The EC2B instance where the program runs, which will be monitoring the queue, read the SQS queue, and then perform a text detection in the images from the images in the queue. Then write the results to the output file in EC2 instance. That's pretty much it is. It's a pretty straightforward project. Let's move on to show you the Java code which I built. I built two Java code files using Visual Studio Code. I named it as EC2A Java and EC2B Java. The reason being is the first file is going to be transferred to the EC2A instance, and second file is going to be transferred to the EC2B instance. As you see in this code, I have hard coded my queue URL and also the bucket URL. Okay. I will be, as part of the project submission, I'm going to submit this two Java files for your reference. Okay, let's move on to the next step. So first, what we're going to do is we're going to transfer this Java files into each of the EC instances. For that, I have opened two PowerShells from my local, and then using SCP, I'm going to transfer these files. First, I need to go to my project folder where I kept these two Java files. So I'm going to navigate. I'm going to do the same thing here so that I can easily transfer the file to the second instance. Okay, good. And the directory. Okay, so I have the EC2A Java and EC2B Java. Both the files are resides in the directory, which is good. Now we're using the SCP command. I'm going to transfer the EC2A Java to the EC2A instance first. The file transfer, and I'm going to do the same thing, transferring the EC2B Java file to the EC2B EC2 instance. The file got transferred. Now, next we have to connect to the EC2 instance using SSH. So by passing the PEM key. All right, I connected, and then do the same thing on the second PowerShell. Connect to the second EC2 instance. Great, it's connected. Both are connected. All right, so now next I'm going to the directory which I created. I'm going to the directory which I created to store the files. As you see, the Java file which we just transferred, the EC2A is transferred successfully, and EC2B Java file also transferred successfully on the second instance, so which is good. Now, next thing is we need to compile it. But before we compile it, we have to make sure we have the AWS Java SDK is installed correctly and all the jar files are available. Otherwise, we will get an error during compilation. So the way we can check that is, you can do like ls d, do the same thing here. Okay, and then just to check the jar files. Jar files all looks good. Jar files all looks good on both the instances, and also I have experienced this problem that there's a warning message which comes up saying that the Java version 1 is deprecated. So it's an optional, but to avoid that, I found a solution where if you can export this environmental variable, that message will not show up. So it's turn off that warning message. So I'm just going to do that on both the instances so that we can read the result very clearly. Then I'm going to compile the Java file on EC2 A instance first. And I'm going to do the same compilation on the second file on the EC2B instance. Okay, compilation is success. I don't see any error, which is a good sign. And I'm going to check the class files got generated. Yes, it has got generated, and the same thing in the other instance. Yes, so both the class files are available on each instance, which is good. Now we're proceeding to execute it. Before we do that, let's purge the queue just in case if there is any messages are orphan messages are pending. So I'm going to execute this purge command and wait for 60 seconds, so it will purge unprocessed messages in the queue. Okay, it's done. And then what we're going to do is we're going to execute. So the way we're going to do it is we're going to execute the program on the EC2 instance second first. So I'm going to execute on the EC2B instance. This program will monitor the queue and process the data as it comes in. And at the same time, I'm going to execute the process in the EC2A instance. It'll be easier for you to monitor. Uh, as I execute this program, you will see how the data has been processed. Um, so left hand side shell shows you the program is processing 10 images, and it detected a seven images which have the cars, and send a termination signal, and it's finished. And at the same time, simultaneously, the EC2B instance was reading those messages in the queue, and then it's processed it, and then it create an output file. Let's see if it got created. Yes, it got created, and let's see what's inside the output file. Yes, perfect. This is what we expected. It processed those images, and it read the text in the images, and it write it in the save file. So this shows us that the program, what we built for this project, has been tested successfully and met the project requirement. I have created my README file in a Word document and added about 15 steps, which explain in detail with screenshots about end-to-end implementation of this project for this course. Also, I have added notes about all the errors I encountered during this project deployment. I'm going to upload all this information in the project submissions, and thank you so much for your time. You have a nice evening. Thank you.